Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. A week ago, I came to this very same park here in New York to shoot birds and to show some tips on how to capture birds, stuff I've learned over the last 5-6 years that I've really gotten bird photography seriously. And I was pretty happy with the video. At least I thought I was going to be pretty happy with the video. I was definitely happy with the images that I captured. And I got home, edited the files, or went to edit the files, and this is what I got. Yeah, no sound at all. So I'm going to share a bunch of those photos with you, and also some of the tips that I recorded on how to shoot birds. But what I'm here for today actually is a couple of woodland compositions that I spotted while I was here last week. So let's get started. And while I'm on the way, I'll show you some of the photos and show you some of the tips about bird photography that I've picked up over the years, and we'll go from there. All right, so back to you in a bit. So the first step in bird photography is to go places where there are birds. Now that sounds pretty obvious, but there are places and then there are places. Like if you're in the city, if you live in the city, you probably have parks nearby, probably within a few miles of where you live. So you can go there. If you live in the country, obviously a lot easier, but even then, you have to look out for specific species. And that's where, if you can learn different habitats for different species, then you can pick locations to go for different types of birds at different times of year. Some birds are migratory, some birds stay year round. Right now, where I'm standing, you can hear a lot of bird songs all around me. And in fact, I have an app on my phone called Merlin, with these flies. Merlin, which is developed by the Cornell University School of Ornithology. And the Merlin app allows me to identify bird songs in the area, which then gives me a starting point for what birds I might be able to find. And as you can see, there are at least 6 different birds around here and probably more. Tip number 2, go out early in the morning. Birds, after a night of rest, especially during breeding season, it's time for them to get up and start looking for food for themselves and for their babies. So certainly for the first 6 to 8 hours of the day, they're going to be particularly busy. So that's a good time to look for them. Third thing to do is to try to lure them down from the canopy. And one way I can do that is by using another app on my phone, which is the Sibley app. Now Sibley is a bird field guide for all North American birds, like 883 species, I think. And along with the pictures and illustrations and basic histories of the birds, there's also some bird songs that you can play back to them to lure at least the males, which tend to be very territorial, down from the canopy. That's how I captured this picture of a American redstart. I played its song back for a couple of minutes. Redstart came down from the trees, and this is what I got. I show before and after versions of most of my images to demonstrate my editing. Would you like me to do a separate video about how I edit? Let me know in the comments. So here's tip number 3, get close to your subject. And there's 2 ways to do that. One is to actually physically get close, which is easier with some birds than for others. The other is obviously to use a long lens. Now I have a 100 to 500 millimeter lens and a 1.4 extender, so that gives me 700 millimeters of working distance, which is pretty good. I wish it could be even longer. In fact, I might be probably going to get the 200 to 800 when it becomes available. Right now, it's pretty much sold out. But the 100 to 500 and 1.4 extender works pretty well. Ugh, these flies. Works pretty well. So, tip number 4, dress. As you can see, I'm wearing a camo cap, camo shirt, khaki pants, basically pretty dull color combination. Birds have excellent color vision, and they're also very sensitive to movement. I actually have a full ghillie suit in my bag. I might wear that later. You don't necessarily need to wear a ghillie suit, but certainly I recommend at least wearing dull clothes like browns, grays, things like that, to make yourself relatively inconspicuous. Also, you got to move very slowly and deliberately, especially when you're in an area where there are lots of birds, because again, as I said before, they're sensitive to movement. If you stand in one spot, they may tend to ignore you after a while, which then leads to patience, which is the number 5 tip. Bird photography takes time. I was out here for like 4 hours last time, and I got quite a few good captures, but all of them took time. Even this one that I'm about to show you here of a yellow warbler, I again had donned my camo, I played the bird song, the bird came down, but I had to wait for it to get to a good spot with a good background, nice plain background, and also then I was able to capture the bird in a song, which is tip number 6. Bird on a stick photography is kind of boring to me. If you can capture some kind of activity such as singing or mating, feeding their young, if you happen to come across a nest, and if you come across a nest, stay away from it, respect the bird space. But if you are able to zoom in with a long lens on a bird feeding its young or stuff like that, then that's cool too. Basically, again, bird on a stick photos are fine, but I like some kind of activity to be portrayed if at all possible. All right, I'm almost at my first woodland spot, but I forgot to mention another important tip about birds, and that is the settings on your camera. Now, I mentioned that I usually use 500 to 700 millimeters of focal length. Shutter speed for songbirds, because they move very fast, I tend to use about a 1/2000th of a second shutter speed. I'll slow it down a little bit, maybe down to 6/40th. If I, gotta step over these rocks here. I'll stop it down to 1/640th if I'm worried too much about light, high ISO, although with the modern denoising software, high ISO is really not much of a problem, but I still like to keep it below 2000. On the other hand, one of the shots that I want to put up now, I think I shot at about 20,000 ISO and cleaned up pretty good. I'm going to put that up now, and then I'm going to set up for this woodland shot. All right, so this is going to be my first composition. I've got, where you see this tree that's grown over these boulders, and I really just like the form of them. I'm going to get my 14 to 35 lens on here and play around with a few angles and see what I can come up with. All right, I've set up for my first shot here, looking at this interesting tree root system. Also a couple of trees behind it. One of the challenges that I have is that I'm on a slope, I'm looking a bit uphill, and as you can see right over here, I've got a big bunch of blue sky, which I don't really want in the shot. So I've come over to this side where I've got some rocks more or less in the background. Still got a little bit of hillside in the back on the left side, but I may be able to crop that out. I might use a pano composition. But as you can see here, this tree root here, coming over the rocks over here. I mean, it really looks really, really interesting. I might want to see if I can, I think I'll leave it there, because I'll leave it here because I've got not only this main tree over here to the left, but also these two over here more to the center. So that will lend some background, some interest, and I'm going to do something about this background back here. I might just dehaze it or something. I've also got a polarizer on the lens, which, as you can see, if I turn it around, even though I'm in the deep shade, it really has a major effect on reflections and light And in fact, bringing it like this brings out the form in the tree trunk. So I might blend this with another exposure that brightens the leaves more, and then I'll blend them. So I'm going to use well, see, right now I've got F8. I'm going to change that to F13 to try and get as much sharpness without having to focus stack. My shutter speed is 0.6 of a second. ISO 100. Focus on the base of the tree. Forgot to put on my 2-second timer, so I'll do it again just to be safe. Okay, so again, focus on the base of the tree. All right, that looks a little dark, but actually no, because the only spike on the highlight is from the sky to the left, and I think I can do something with that. So I'm going to play around with this. I'm going to move the polarizer around a bit also, maybe change the composition around, and whatever works out best, and if it's more than one shot, then you'll see it or them right here. In the end, I don't think this image works. The mottled lichen on the tree roots matches the rock, and it all just kind of blends together. What do you think? Okay, I've set up at a fairly precarious position here at a cascade. I want to show you the cascade, and I'm going to show you what's behind my camera. What's behind the camera? You can see here, the cascade goes all the way up here, comes down here. I would really want to get to the highest part, which is up by the dam, but I've got two problems with that. One is that sky, which Gavin Hardcastle would call the triangle of pointlessness, and the other is, well, that's the main problem. All right, so now we've got the view of from behind the camera. You see here, I've got the triangle of pointlessness right up here. I'm going to have to do something with that in post. Nice little cascade up here. I want to focus stack this with about a 1/2 second exposure, ISO 200, 1/2 second exposure. I've got my polarizing filter on. In fact, let me just turn it around here to see how I maximize. Yeah, a bit of the other way. All right, so here's my first exposure right now. And I'm going to work my way up from the front to the back, and the final result you're going to see right here. Well, now the sun is out fully. Say it's about 8:30 in the morning, 8:25 in the morning. So I'm done with the landscapes for now. I've switched to bird mode. You can see I put my ghillie suit on. But just as I was about to change, I spotted a leopard frog or pickerel frog. One of the two, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to put those shots up now. I switched to my 100mm macro, and the frog was very cooperative, stayed in one place for about 5 minutes. So here are the shots of the frog. And now I'm going to hood up my ghillie suit, listen for some birds, hopefully attract a couple, and we'll see what happens. There's definitely some birds all right around me. It's just a matter of identifying which ones they are, and then I'll know which songs to play back to them. One of them sounds like a vireo of some kind. Okay, so I've got my burning lens on, my 100 to 500, and I just captured a warbling vireo. I'm going to put it up now. Basically what I did is, as I said before, I played a song back to it and waited for it to show up. What's that? I think that's a robin. Yep. Anyway, here's a shot of the vireo. Hope you like it. All right, folks, I think I'm going to make this a wrap. I hope you've enjoyed this little adventure, and I hope you've learned a couple of things about how I shoot birds, and hopefully some tips that you'll be able to bring to your own bird photography. I'm going to put up some bonus footage of some birds that I captured a little while ago. Hope you've enjoyed this adventure, and if you did, please give me a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and hit that notification bell that's right down here so that next time I upload, you'll see it right away. Also, if you're interested in any of my gear, you can use the Amazon links that are below in the description. If you do log on to Amazon using one of those links and make a qualifying purchase, it's no extra cost to you. I get a small commission that helps build the channel, and so I appreciate that very much. And until the next time, I'll see you around. Bye now.